Can you give me something new? Can you give me something refreshing, exciting to look forward to go home and try, to get in that vortex, something that will just spark it off? I feel like I need something different.
Well, it's hard to know where to go for you, because we have said to you everything in the world that you have become and everything in the world that you want is in your vortex. And you say, Abraham, please give me a reason to go in there. Can't you call me in an exciting new way? It's not enough for me to know that everything I want and everything I am is in there. Give me another reason. Do you believe us when we say? Do you believe that the vortex exists?
Absolutely. I've experienced the vortex.
So what are you asking for?
Help in getting in there and staying in there more often.
Well, here's the thing. Most everyone tries to get in the vortex from not being in. So this is something that is fresh and new for you. Most people I'm going to get in the vortex, and I'm going to get in there relative to money, and so I'm going to buy Abraham's money and the law of attraction cards. I've heard said by Abraham that these are the best cards that have ever been written. We wrote them. These cards are magic. If you read these cards, everything you want will come true. So you buy the cards. They're $30. Best $30 you'll ever spend. Sarcasm doesn't become us either, but the reason that we're playing with you like this is because when you are not in the vortex, wanting to be but not, and you decide that you're going to apply some of our processes, these cards being one of them, and you begin reading, the law of attraction responds to my vibration, we can see why you're asking for something new. That doesn't really ring your bell. I can make a career of living happily ever after. Right. I'm always receiving the essence of what I'm giving. Oh, good deal on that. I can follow the trail of good feeling thoughts. I can create both money and the time to enjoy it. Clearly, Abraham is dead. No kids to feed, no house to clean. I will praise success wherever I see it. The story I tell is the basis of my life. Can I get my money back? My what is need not influence my what is becoming. I will tell my story as I want it to be. Abraham, don't you have anything new for me? None of this is ringing my bell. And the reason is because even though everything that's here resonates with your absolute knowing, you have to be in the vortex and up to speed with who you are before the power of what's written here is thrilling to you. But that's really not the point that we're making. The point that we're making is that when you're not in the vortex and you really, really want to be, that the effort that you often make in order to try to motivate yourself into the vortex has the reverse effect, because it makes you sort of dig in a sort of defensive, justifying way of defending where you're at. Does that make sense to you? Have you ever had someone try to convince you of something and you didn't agree? You were on the other side of it. And the more the two of you talked to each other, the more you both dug in and held your position. It's like you left the argument just sure that you were right, and they left the argument just sure that they were right, and nothing good. There was no middle ground that was discovered because you both just dug in. Well, sometimes that's what's happening to you. You want to get into the vortex, but the harder you try, it's like, and the reason there is a physiological and a vibrational reason for it, the reason is because as you because every subject is really two subjects, wanted and unwanted. There are two ends to every wave. If you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And if you know what you do want, you know what you don't want. In other words, with sickness, there is illness on the other end. With plenty of money, there is not nearly enough money. Every subject really is two subjects. So when you've been practicing a particular subject like money, and you've been practicing it on the not having enough end of the equation of the scale, then when you talk about it, what you do is just practice the vibration where it already is. So it's like just digging in harder. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So
Can you just help me get over there a little in the vortex?
Well, here is that new thing that you're asking for. Because everything, have you read any of these books? Have you read any of them? All of them, probably. But what we're getting at is they're full of processes that have been written for no other reason than to get you over there.
So just try the process.
Well, stay with us just a little bit, because you've asked for something fresh and new, so we're going to give it to you here.
Okay.
But we really want you to hear everything that we're saying. Every process is to help you to get over there, but this that you're asking for, we want you to understand, as several people have already said to us here today, sometimes they wake up in the vortex. The man said, sometimes I can see for no good reason. He's in the vortex. The other man said, sometimes I woke up and I just felt so good till I remembered I had to go to work that day. And then I immediately left the vortex. But you are in the vortex at one time or another, many times in every day. So the new fresh thing that you're reaching for is, we want you to accept that you're often in, and make a decision that you're going to catch yourself in there, and you're going to milk it just a little longer when you find yourself there. In other words, there's a powerful tool in recognizing that you are in, and then just relaxing and staying there longer. Now, what often happens is you realize you're there and you say, oh, I'm there, I hope I stay. Out you go. Because you're aware that you're often not in. And so, but if you'll just make an effort to be aware of when your heart is singing a little more, when you're dancing a little more, all kinds of things will happen, because the universe knows how much you want to be in there, because your inner being and everything that is important to you is in there. So there are far more opportunities to hold you in there and show you wonderful things than you are giving yourself credit for. We want to give you a little piece of understanding about something. Sometimes it sounds to you like we're talking about two cut and dried world, in the vortex and out of the vortex, and in the vortex being non-physical and out of the vortex being physical. And those are not the distinctions that we're making at all, because you can be in the vortex and physical, meaning you can be in the vortex and manifesting things, because the only difference between what humans call physical or manifested and non-physical is that there's stuff that is manifesting. So we want you to understand that if you can separate these two concepts as vibrational concepts, in the vortex feels better, out of the vortex doesn't feel so good. In the vortex, higher vibration, out of the vortex, lower vibration. In the vortex, no resistance, only allowing. Out of the vortex, plenty of resistance, not allowing. So you're thinking about vibration relative to all of this. Then you begin saying, and this is the thing that we want you to understand, if you can get into the vortex for no reason, in other words, I'm going there because it feels good, period. I'm not going there for a Range Rover. I'm not going there for more money. I'm not going there for a lover. I'm not going there. I don't have ulterior motives that are the reason that I'm going there. Because if you've got ulterior motives as the reason that you're going there, the ulterior motive that isn't yet satisfied, that isn't yet manifested, you're just practicing the absence of it. If you say, I'm going to go to the vortex, so here's how it goes. Oh, there's a vortex over there. I know. I think I'll go in. Why? I'm going to go into the vortex so that I can get my lover who isn't here. And out you go. I'm going to go into the vortex. I'm going into the vortex. I'm going into the vortex. I'm going into the vortex so I can find money that isn't here. So the reason that we want you to go into the vortex. I'm going to the vortex because it feels good. I'm going to the vortex because it feels good. I'm going to the vortex because it feels good. I'm going to the vortex because my heart sings there. I'm going to the vortex because I'm happy there. I'm going to the vortex for emotional reasons. I'm going to the vortex because I breathe more deeply there. I'm going to the vortex because I feel more clear-minded there. I'm going to the vortex. I'm going to the vortex for emotional reasons. I'm going to the vortex for emotional reasons. If you will go for emotional reasons, you'll get in and you'll hang around a little longer. And here's the thing that we so want you to hear. We almost shouldn't tell you, but we will. If you hang around in this vortex for the emotional reason that we're describing, stuff's going to start manifesting for you inside the vortex. You're going to be in the vortex with a Range Rover. You're going to be in the vortex with more money. You see what we're getting at? Because it is right that things materialize for you, but things that you want can't materialize for you if you're blocking them with your unworthiness. Now, doesn't the word unworthiness sound different than it did before?
Feels different.
Unworthy is not something that someone else can pronounce you. Unworthy is just something that you do to yourself because you refuse to go into the vortex. Or you go for the wrong reason and it spits you right out. So here's are you following us? So here's some questions to make this more poignant. Can you take an active, throbbing, lackful vibration into the vortex?
No.
If you did, what would happen? It'd spit you right out. Why? Because the frequencies don't match up. So if the vortex is this state of being, which is a high vibration, isn't it logical that by practicing that higher vibration and maintaining it just a little longer, in other words, so there are two things that we're giving you here that are fresh and new. One is you're just going to stumble into the vortex not even knowing how you got there. Accept that. And two, you're going to practice being there longer when you find yourself there, because whatever thought that you're focused upon is your way of practicing your vibration. And if you practice the vibration inside the vortex, pretty soon you're going to get the hang of it. Do you know people that are so sure of their financial stability that you can't make them worry about money? Do you know anybody like that?
Yes.
You say, yeah, well, they inherited a fortune. Of course, that's the way they feel. But separate whatever reason you've assigned. In other words, there's this tendency to say, well, yeah, they feel that way because of that they have, which I don't have. And we say, that's arguing for your limitations, and that's arguing for being outside the vortex. What we want you to start doing is arguing for being in the vortex. Sort of like we said to our friend, only ask the question to which you know you will receive an answer from someone in the vortex. Following?
Yes. Thank you.
Be very playful about it. We can feel that you are often in the vortex. We also can feel that you've been working very hard to get into the vortex. And we think this conversation is good for everyone because we're talking about vibration here, not action, which means we're talking about focus now, not glasses. Can you feel the distinction? We're talking about choosing the thought for the emotional content and practicing it long enough that the emotional content becomes the habit. And once you do that, then money just follows you everywhere you go. You can hardly stop the abundance of money that's flowing into your experience. Do you believe that?